What's coming is modern-day slavery, low pay, high rent, high student loan debt, high food costs, cash ban, negative interest rates, universal income, and socialized medicine. Eliminate cash and guns, and it's game over. Cryptos are the next step in this nefarious plan. The mark has finally arrived. Digital dollar, digital wallet, digital identification. All we need now is an asteroid. Welcome to the Matrix. You can get in, but you cannot get out. Congratulations, here is your new world currency. Yon never saw that coming. Government officials and regulators across the board have voiced their support for a digital US dollar, and recently the US has said they are researching a central bank digital currency CBDC. Blockchain will be weaponized to track every single transaction that anyone makes. It is a million times more Orwellian than cash. Bye-bye to the Tether cartel, and welcome to the Big Brother. With a digital currency, they can then just simply ban certain purchases on the spot. Guns and ammo. Yeah, those are deemed bad now. Digital Fed wallet will not allow such a thing. Gold and silver bullion? Yeah, that's too against the rules of the new digital Fed wallet. No such purchase will be allowed. This is what really matters. This is what really is going on. What the entire motive behind all the pandemic hysteria is really about the end game. The money, people. That is the whole kit and caboodle. Once there is no cash and all transactions are digital, it won't matter if Krusty the Clown is running Washington, D.C. It won't matter who you vote for. It won't matter, period. You will do as you are told when you are told, and how you are told. The end game is not money per se, they can print all the money they want. The end game is total control. This is what's coming. The control element will be complete. When they are done, you will beg them to take the cash and give you digits just so long as the pain goes away. This has all been planned for many years now. The writing has been on the wall. Reset of paper money to digital. What can be more perfect to start it now? There's the motive for the pandemic. No wonder they are trying to warn people not to use physical currencies due to fear of spreading the virus. They're setting us up for an all-digital one-world currency. Imagine a run on the bank with digital dollars. Welcome back to the Atlantis Report. You are here because you want to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The deep state boomer oligarchy lost the petrodollar. The current COVID media-induced panic is the cover-up. Coronavirus is a boomer hysteria and has nothing to do with the Wuhan plague but everything to do with the petrodollar. The reality is that the New York and London stock market boomers are stealing the retirement of boomers worldwide while telling them to hide in the basement. The USA lost the petrodollar. The power to price and control the price of oil and the coronavirus is the cover-up for the stock market crash. One currency to rule them all, one currency to price petroleum, one currency to bring the nation states in and in petrodollar debt bind them. The US and UK petrodollar system collapsed overnight. Petro is dropping like a rock. Oil is in the negative as of the making of this video. Coronavirus economic collapse main event 201 moving along perfectly, just as planned. The rest of the markets soon to follow, perhaps between 1 to 2 months from now. This is the largest economic shock of our lifetimes. This is a wake-up call. The price of everything will drop except food and taxes. The bankrupt major oil companies will cost your pension funds hundreds of billions. Russia crashing the oil market is part of the pincer attack being orchestrated by Russia and China. There is nowhere to store the oil as all ships and tanks are full, and shale producers can't stop production or the pressure in their well drops so they lose the well. Hence there is nowhere to put the oil, but the producers need to keep pumping. For a producer, it would be better to produce the oil, set fire to it and buy back the hedge contract. Unlike stocks, this is not a paper transaction. People are literally on the hook for physical delivery of 55,000 barrels of oil if they do not get rid of their options. This is the death of the petrodollar and the coming of a currency reset. Going exactly as planned, put people in lockdown while they crash everything, connect the dots. This virus was the catalyst they had planned. The US petrodollar, which is dependent on other countries being forced to use US currency to buy oil around the world. Now with the oil becoming backwards and obsolete, the plan is to replace the petrodollar with the digital dollar. Central banks want two things: privatize currency and suppress cash. For more control, complete control of people's lives. That is what they crave, control. Money in and by itself is not what interests them. They have enough of it and only see it as a tool to control the masses. The same goes for governments, which is why all systems are set up to entrap people using debt. Freedom, both personal and economic, is the enemy of this agenda, so any politician who talks about freedom for people is lying. Most of them stay clear of that and instead use relative terms like equality, fairness, etc., knowing full well how people can be equally enslaved. Central bank digital currencies would raise the ability of a central entity to banish individuals or sovereigns from engaging in economic exchange, restricting them to barter. Taxes and transaction fees will slowly move all money back to their side of the table anyway. Theft is the only thing on the menu. The rich get a bailout. The poor get a handout. The middle class gets left out. The system has always been taxing the middle class to bribe the underclass to vote for the upper class. The United States digital dollar is coming and arriving soon. Digital dollar donations are what's expected, but most likely, these will be digital dollar deductions or the ultimate inflationary dollar due to the tax rollover that will be needed to utilize them. Nothing is for free. Hyperinflation is inevitable, Argentinian style. I'll use my digital dollars to buy some digital real estate and become a virtual slumlord. Those that control the rule makers make the rules. The problem is that the controllers tend to be biased in their favor. Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws. How about digital currencies that don't use banks, removing the command and control of central bank owners? That is their worst nightmare. Becoming just another schmuck like the rest of us. We knew all along they wanted to control Bitcoin-type technology. What better way to track and control the movement of money and the value of our labor? They just let the early adopters and investors take all the risks until the technology was sufficiently proven. What next? Implementing the inflation tool by allowing the supply of Fed coins to expand. Then we can all enjoy the same inflationary benefits that we always have, and eventually a fractional coin system coin-titative easing when that too spins out of control. Precious metals backing? It's never been there with Bitcoins, and it won't be there with Fed coins. And the greatest part is the fact that you need a computer, which means they can take all your money and shut you off anytime, anywhere. Once again, technology has been commandeered for the good of the globalists. The national currency should be issued by the Minister of Finances. It is all about bread and circus. If you can keep the masses calm, then the elites can build and enjoy their parallel world. We are at the great leveling stage where most are being dragged down to the lower common denominator as the elites hoover up the remaining wealth from middle-income groups. What they fail to understand is that without a vibrant middle class, there is no glue to hold society together. That is the point at which they need to be afraid of the pitchforks, especially those being held by well-educated individuals. End the globalists and their central banking system. Then plant free enterprise, honest money, and barter. There is much to be said for mixing the basics with the sophisticated and the wisdom to know the difference. Privately owned central banking corporations creating and controlling our money is a total insanity. Of course, central banks are going to fight for relevancy, including their member banks, as fintech revolutionizes the planet. But in the end, their schemes will always keep them in control. This is a trend, not a conspiracy theory, that all paper currency will be outlawed and only digital currency will be used. But this won't happen until the technology catches up in order for this to happen. The US isn't completely wired for this yet. But it's getting there. Right now, cell phones can be used for digital transactions even, along with debit and credit cards. In order to have complete control over our lives, they need to know what we spend our money on, where we were at the time and at what time. And cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin were a trial run, a pilot program for the digital currency. But first things first. They need to introduce their new one world currency first. Both in digital form and in paper form. And eventually everything will be digital throughout the world, or at least in the developed nations. Slowly the Fed turns step by step incrementalizing crypto widgets to facilitate the globalist elimination of cash under the fraud of just being there to help those who refuse to use banking. That is a lie and fraud. Once upon a time, there was a vast nation with millions of citizens that had no currency of its own. Far away, there were authorities who demanded everyone use their issued paper. but they were far away and everyone ignored them. Instead, everyone used what was convenient and best ensured mutually verifiable payment of value. When the source dried up, people started making them on their own. The convenient currency, the Spanish thaler. The nation, the United States. The dollar was not originally a US currency. What it was a reliable store of value and payment. When it became the global reserve currency, the fact that it was reliable was of prime importance. The fact the US issued it, or that any country at all issued it, was totally unimportant. You don't need dollars, or libras, or stablecoins, or treasury-issued currency of any kind. You need a convenient store of value and payments. Nothing more. And the more transparent, the better. This was the Atlantis Report. Please like, share, subscribe. And please take some time to subscribe to my backup channels. I do upload videos there too. You'll find the links in the description box. You will also find a PayPal link if you want to make a donation. Thank you wholeheartedly to all those of you who have already donated. Stay safe and healthy.